Good evening, YouTube. I am back with another update, and so far I've completed printing everything. The Ender 3S1 Pro did a phenomenal job with the printing tasks. I printed absolutely everything for the Voron kit on this machine. Everything came out just absolutely wonderful. No real issues of any kind. Little dog hair maybe. Everything seems to be accurate like it's supposed to be. This is the fan filter shroud setup. I just can't I can't argue with how well this machine printed. Even some of these aren't. I've seen other people doing builds, and I've seen some of the printed parts they've been getting or doing, and I've reprinted a couple of things here and there, like things that either maybe I didn't have my settings quite right, or bed adhesion or temps, or I had to swap to a different filament, which was another issue because I started out with Hatchbox. I ended the ABS in the main color black with eSun, but worked pretty well. But everything printed just phenomenally. Everything is like spot on. Even all these, the little belt, I don't know what you want to call them, grippers. They're not out of place. Everything is good. Nothing's melted funny. I mean, it's just did such a good job. Which of course also begs the question, why build a Voron? There's obvious reasons why everyone wants a Voron, because they just rock. But I mean, everything just printed clean like it's supposed to. I mean, there'll be very little post-process work I got to do. Very minor stringing, if any, anywhere. Maybe got to clean off a little bit of the glue off of this one, which is water-based, so it's not a big deal. All the parts are fitting like they're supposed to. I mean, nothing of any major incidents. I've only had a couple of items that were, like the tool head for the stealth burner is a particularly difficult print, for obvious reasons. And in my case, the issue I was having was that split right there where these two corner joints meet. For some reason, I don't know if it's not bed adhesion, because these things stuck like glue. These things were fine. But this was my first one, which actually, this was my second one, but actually printed very correctly as far as all the dimensions and everything. And overall, everything else was fine with it, with those exceptions. I just wasn't sure about those. So I did reprint it a couple times. The final print isn't the best, but it's more structurally, I think, sound than that one. And that's on the tool head now. No splits on the sides. The only issue I had was a little bit of, I think it might have been cooling on this side. I'm not too sure. It's not, it looks worse on camera than it actually is. It can be sanded, so I'm not worried about that. And speaking of printing, this is the rest of the stealth burner, all printed on that puppy. I mean, I really have a hard time having a complaint about anything. I mean, even this back panel piece, which has a very particular section that meshes onto the sides here. No weirdo stuff like that little portion of the head, nothing. As you can see, I've got it almost entirely assembled. That particular ADXL is just there as a placeholder. I know the kit's going to have one. It's a little Revo Voron. Got my fans all in there wired up. The NeoPixels are all in and wired. I started working on the clicky probe. This is just sitting in there right now. Got that wired up. I have the stepper motor coming, and this particular, I'm running the Harkey stealth burner board. Everything's all wired, all the fans, thermistor, hot end, and the clicky probe right there is in there. Only uses the ground. Jesus, I really got uses the ground and signal for this. It's just going to go to one of the end stops on the board, and then once I get the kit with the rest of the harness, it's just going to be simple wiring. So, I mean, this thing is a beast. Everything else is done on that. Here's the other piece of the clicky probe, also kind of showing how nice the printing was. I mean, nothing crazy. Just clean. Just did such a good job. So I think I'm pretty much done with everything. I got my pie. Obviously, I got the hot end. I'm pretty sure I'm all set on all the parts. I've got 3 boxes, 3 whole boxes of printed parts with pretty much everything all set and ready to go, and a couple extras like the magnetic side panel mounts. I had to order a bunch more magnets because I ran out of magnets in my kit. I am going to get another kit with the kit when it arrives, so I'll have extras, but I decided I might as well print out all the side panel magnet pieces and the mid pieces. This will be for the top and the sides. Everything in here is done. All the skirts. I decided not to go with black bolts, and the reason is because I'm going with the space gray, and I didn't want to. I wanted it to be some brightness somewhere in it because everything's relatively dark. The copper is in picture here looks real light, not in person. That's because it's the way the focus and everything in the camera. In reality, it's actually more kind of a wood color, like more representative. That piece to the back of the filter. And that's about how everything looks in person. So because it's so bright, dark, I wanted to have some sort of light parts somewhere on it. So I just stuck with the silver pieces. Just made sense. So, but I'm pretty sure I've got everything. There's one panel that I did use a different material, and that was this piece, and you can tell because it's more shiny. This is PETG. I actually had just run out of ABS, so this is the only part printed that's printed in something other than ABS, and this was printed on the Endo 2 Pro over there, and actually did a pretty good job. Not too bad. It still will match everything. So that's pretty much it for now. Just gotta wait for the main unit to show up, and I can start on the full build. I'm gonna take everything off my table here. This is a pretty hefty table. I'm gonna slide the Ender 3 Pro S1 Pro over here to this side. I'm gonna do the build above where the mount is on the table, because that's actually the flattest portion of this table. I've actually already used a level all over it, and it's pretty flat. But I have, I've got, let me move my Surface Pro over. Yeah, I've got a couple of like these type of squares, and these are aluminum and stainless steel. I got a bunch of these little clamps that I've had for a while that I use on my little projects, and I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get it pretty square and pretty set here. So we'll be good to go. But that's it. That's just my my update for now. I think I have more than enough ABS left to do any pick up parts if I've missed anything or if I want to redo something. And I got a little bit of I probably have about 25% of the accent color left. So I think I'm fine on those materials. I may pick up extra spools, but I didn't really print a lot of duplicate parts. I may reprint a second clicky probe itself, the actual probe. It's a bit finicky, and it's not. I may have to turn the extrusion down more to get the accuracy for these. It's a little strained on the edges where these magnets are going in. This will be fine. It works and it does everything it's supposed to do. Everything's working and flush, and I tested the continuity and all that with all the little connectors and the magnets, so I know that should work the way it should work. One thing I found that there's not a lot of information on the wiring to the tool head. That's the one thing about all the instructions that kind of left me a little worried, because it's going in the probe, but it's not going to it doesn't go to. You're not using the 24 volt connector on the left. You're just using ground and signal, and you're just going to use it as an open and close probe, essentially. I wasn't sure how it was wired. I couldn't find anything that specifically said how to wire it up to here. There was just one line of text, I think, in the instructions, and that was pretty much it. And I couldn't really find anything else. So I did use Discord, and they helped me out quite a bit on getting the exact. Yeah, I was just thinking too much in my head, I think, is what was going on. The whole 2-pin to 3-pin change and using the same spot that the Omron inductive probe would have gone, but that's using the 24 volt power and ground and signal. So we are skipping that altogether, and I think that's probably the best way to go, especially for this, because I may end up doing a second clicky just to see if I can get it cleaned up a little bit. I'm not too sure if it was the ABS, because this was the second one I did. The first one I did it in the accent color, and the accent color, even though it's from Hatchbox as well as 99% of the black, it seemed to print a little, I think, drier is the only word I'd have for it. So I don't know, but we'll see if it works. This probe, oddly enough, is the spare probe that came with the Ender 3 S1. They give you an extra spare for some reason, and I was like, well, I might as well use it. I had it, so once I get the stepper motor in, this will be completed, and I think we're all set. And hopefully, I'll have some more content for everybody. Other than that, if you got any comments or questions, post below. I will be doing the entire build in sections in a realistic fashion. You know, I'm just a guy who's doing this in between working in my little cramped office. So I probably have 300 or 400 hours of printing already done between all the parts. So easily. So I think I've been printing for a heck a long time, since whenever my first video of the printers I put up. So, all right, got any questions, comments, post them below. Talk to you guys later. Bye.